Hello everybody, Jet here, and welcome to another Total War. Let's talk Total War with the Warlord Legends, where we are doing Yuan Shu, or Yuan Shu here. So again, well, first things first, this is going to be shared on my Twitter, so please check it out there. There'll be a link to that also be linked to it in the description below. As always, big disclaimer, I'm not Creative Assembly staff, I'm not a history expert, especially on this period of time. I'm not a history expert at all, to be fair, so everything I say is taken with a pinch of salt. Also, everything is subject to change. So, Yuan Shu, the Pretender. So, the product of a long line of influential nobles, he has established himself as a powerful warlord. He was instrumental in fighting the corruption of the Han dynasty and was named General of the Rear by Dongzhou himself. A decadent and extravagant ruler, he is well known for his ostentatiousness and frequently relies on commanders for administrative matters. Class, Commander, so he sits back and commands. Nickname, the ambitious powermonger. Who is he? The product of a long line of influential nobles, Yuan Shu has established himself as a powerful warlord. Originally known for his courage and valour, Yuan Shu was a great hunter and falconer in his youth, climbing through several government ranks, including the General of the Household Rapid as a tiger. I don't know what that means. Please feel free to tell me what that means. So including General of the Household Rapid as a tiger. I know the general means a general, I assume, but yeah. As time progressed, however, he was known for his more for his ostentatiousness. He was not a great administrator himself, so he relied on commanders such as Sun Jian to oversee his forces. Yuan Shu was instrumental in fighting back against the corruption of the Han dynasty, which you wouldn't think if he's not a good administrator, but he was named General of the Rear by Dongzhou himself. However, Dongzhou took over the capital. When Dongzhou took over the capital, Yuan Shu established a base at Luoyang and allied himself with a group of warlords in order to oppose him. In retaliation for his betrayal, Dongzhou killed Yuan Shu's father, thus sparking Shu's ongoing conflict with half-brother Yuan Shao. As the two battled to assume leadership of the family in the aftermath. After he conquered Nanyang, Yuan Shu placed Sun Jian in charge of his army, who then proceeded to repeatedly crush Dongzhou's forces. Yuan Shu, meanwhile, continued to act as a hegemon of Nanyang, cementing his reputation as a decadent and extravagant ruler. Despite his successes following Dongzhou's retreat from the capital, Yuan Shu's animosity towards Yuan Shao grew. Yuan Shu and his ally Gongsun Zan fought Yuan Shao for some time, but were ultimately defeated. Following the death of his envoy Han Yin at the hands of Lu Bu, Yuan Shu launched another large-scale invasion of the Zhou province. Unfortunately for Yuan Shu, the attack failed miserably, decimating his army and leaving his opponents to take advantage of his weakness. It was Cao Cao who eventually attacked and destroyed Yuan Shu's kingdom, with Yuan Shu fleeing to a small village where he later died of illness. Now, I think Lu Bu deserves his own mention, as it's the first time I've seen him mentioned in any of these things, and yeah, I know who Lu Bu is, at least, as in he's somebody who we should be scared of. Or at least from my Dynasty Warriors playing time. Playstyle. Yuan Shu's playstyle is primarily focused on managing his legitimacy and claim to be emperor. While he can progress through the ranks in the same ways as most factions, he has the unique ability to demand support of his legitimacy. This means that if another faction leader accepts Yuan Shu's claim, it will grant Yuan Shu a significant amount of legitimacy. High levels of legitimacy not only provide higher income, but a large amount of extra prestige, which can accelerate Yuan Shu's progression through the ranks. So this sounds like something different, Yuan Shu, and we've had this before with Yuan Shao, where it seems to be a different thing which helps them out. Legitimacy must also be spent on recruiting new characters into Yuan Shu's faction. Without others accepting his legitimacy, Yuan Shu will have trouble finding allies willing to join him. So basically it sounds like him and Yuan Shao are going to be fighting off with the legitimacy to try and build it up, to prove they're the true heir. Aside from legitimacy, Yuan Shu's other key focus is on commerce and industry. As a faction leader, Yuan Shu provides a significant bonus to these income types, even though he's bad at administration. So, it can be worthwhile to focus on these while he is at the helm. Characters in Yuan Shu's faction also have access to a unique assignment that requires some financial investment up front, but then provides a significant bonus income over time. Interesting. Granzi. I'll do this from down here. Yuan Shu is prone to having agnostic relationships with those around him, including his wife, Lady Feng. Yuan Shu's rivalry with his charismatic half-brother, Yuan Shao, is never far from his mind. Believing himself to be the rightful heir to the family name that Yuan Shao has stolen... Believing himself to be rightful heir to the family name and that Yuan Shao has stolen his birthright, Yuan Shao is intent on proving his superior worthiness. Yuan Shu's starting position is one of great opportunity, but also precariousness. I'll let you pronounce it. I can usually say that. Oh my god. Precariousness. His campaign has one of the most difficult starts in the game, situated next to the formidable Liao Biao. Yuan Shu's territory is almost within striking range of Dongzhou's forces, who is certainly likely to lash out at Yuan Shu early on. Additionally, to the east lies Cao Cao, an opponent with whom the chance of friction is high. So we really are starting surrounded by enemies here, so it could be a very tricky situation. Surrounded by himself and surrounded by powerful and ambitious warlords with few allies to hand, playing as Yuan Shu is a very challenging experience that requires initial caution, followed by sufficient boldness to carve out a strong position as the campaign progresses. So to me, that sounds very much like you need to take your time to build up. You need to sit there, hold the line, get yourself a good starting position, and then basically it's who blinks first. When one of the others is, engaged or makes the wrong move, you have to be willing to take the risk and the advantage. So that means sometimes you'll do very well. You'll plow in, you'll decimate the enemy while they're at war with somebody else. But it also means sometimes you'll take this advantage and it'll all go horribly wrong and somebody will attack you from somewhere else. So you've got to be bold and you've got to be willing to take risks. So it could be an interesting start, and it means that sometimes you may just lose if you're completely surrounded by enemies. But if you play it right, you won't. Initial dilemma. Yuan Shu's initial dilemma sees him being approached by an envoy who reports that Sun Jian is surrounded by the forces of Liao Bao, who is seeking the imperial seal for Yuan Shao. You can help Sun Jian by declaring war on Liao Bao, which will of course please the former and anger the latter. Or you can instead choose to let Sun Jian fend for himself. So this is obviously telling us about the dilemmas. We've already discussed all of that. Campaign progression. So we've discussed some of this already. Yuan Shu's overarching aim is to become emperor, as seems to be everybody's. But to begin with, Yuan Shu must focus on stabilizing his power base against Dongzhou and Liu Biao, while also building an alliance against Yuan Shao. Ultimately, Yuan Shu will have to dominate the south in strong opposition to Sun Jian. The east versus Cao Cao, or the west against Dongzhou and Liu Biao. And none of these options are easy. However, the areas surrounding Yuan Shu's starting position, while not necessarily immediately wealthy, can lead to a strong economy with plenty of commerce and industrial resources, as well as farmland, if properly turned to his advantage. So, sounds very much like I said. He wants to concentrate to start with, sit where you are, build up, get your borders, fend off anything coming you, and basically wait for them to blink. You need to be ready to take that advantage, but you don't want to jump too early. And when you jump, you're going to have enemies on all sides. So when you take that advantage, you're going to have to either be ready to jump back and deal with an incursion elsewhere, or hope that you've got the power to take what you want quickly and hold it. Possibly look for somewhere you can take and hold easily while you're going back to deal with your other territories. What kind of player is Yuan Shu for? Yuan Shu is the players who want to challenge from start to finish, as well as those who enjoy being a scheming powermonger who hustles others into accepting their legitimacy and supremacy, with the lofty goal of becoming emperor dominating his playstyle. For potential enemies on all sides, Yuan Shu's campaign requires steely nerves and careful balance of both caution and decisiveness when the need arrives. Obviously, we've also got the further reading here, guys, if you do want to. He does sound a very interesting playstyle, and of the sitting back and scheming ones, he sounds about the most fun to me, because while you've got to build up early, like the last one, I can't remember his name was, we talked about, you've also got to concentrate on what you're doing. You're going to have to fend off attacks. You're going to have to make that early advance. I'd potentially do it into one of these. Rather than going to these open territories, which would be harder to defend, I'd probably looking at pushing up into one of these more hilly, mountainous territories around us, which are potentially going to be easier to defend. So if you can take this, for example, from what I can see, obviously they'll probably be able to get across the river and maybe the mountains. I don't know the map fully, but you'll have far less routes of assault in than if I take, say, push into Chen or Runan, where there'll be lots of easy ways in. But the downside is it's probably not necessarily going to be as good a territory as some of these. He does sound like a very interesting player, guys. So as always, please feel free to pop your comments in the comment section, or jump over to my Discord and say hi there and pop the comments there. There is also a link to my Twitter and my Patreon, as well as links to my affiliations with Fanatical and Overclockers UK. I forgot what I was saying there. Thank you very much for your time, guys.